everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I have a baking for beginners video for you because I put out a poll on Instagram to see what video you would like to see soon. So not in the coming months, not when I get to it, but you would like to see soon. And you all chose, the majority of you chose a spring baking for beginners video. And while it's still February when I'm recording this, I'm definitely thinking spring, hoping it'll be here before we know it, getting into spring brighter colors because I'm ready for that spring weather. And I'm ready for spring blossoms and things to become green and colorful again. But while that's not going to happen in the very near future, hopefully this video will be interesting to you and also maybe give you some inspiration for Easter or spring events that you might be attending. And so once you chose the spring baking for beginners video, I put out another poll on Instagram and Facebook asking about 3 different recipes and which one you would like to see me make. And the winner was cookie dough Easter eggs. And while this has Easter in the title, I think it's probably a recipe you could make anytime, but will definitely be good for spring and Easter. I got this recipe from delish.com, and I will link the recipe in the description box as I always do to give them full credit. But after reviewing the recipe, I found that there is actually no technical baking involved in this, meaning we don't need to use the stove or the oven, which, as I said, I didn't find out till after the fact, but that's okay. However, there is some time involved because we're going to have to stop in the middle and freeze some stuff for an hour. So let's get this going. You are going to need a mixing bowl and mixer, whether that be hand mixer or your stand mixer, but I just have my stand mixer, so that is what I will be using. You're also going to need a baking pan lined with parchment paper. And then as far as ingredients, you are going to need peanut butter. I don't think it matters. It can probably be the peanut butter of your choice. You are also going to need brown sugar, and I will get into all the measurements as we go along, but this way you at least have all of your ingredients ready to go. Pure vanilla extract, crushed graham crackers, so I bought the pre-crushed ones to save myself time and make life easier. Kosher salt, whole milk, which I have not taken out of the fridge yet. I'm not going to take it out till I'm ready for it. Mini chocolate chips. The recipe did not specify if they had to be milk chocolate, semi-sweet, or what, so I just went with the minis that I could find, which were semi-sweet. You'll also need white chocolate chips, rainbow sprinkles, and pastel food coloring, which I did not know existed, but apparently you can get it at places like Walmart, Michael's, Target, but not at most grocery stores from what I've seen. They typically have just the traditional colors. However, when I went to my local Walmart, they did not have the pastel colors. They had every other option you could imagine, including glitter, but no pastel. And I did not have time to go to any other stores, so I just went with neon. Uh-oh, guys. I went with neon because I said that will be close to that's the closest to pastel I could get. But upon looking at the package again, it is gel food coloring and not liquid. So I honestly don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to have to investigate and get back to you. Okay, I checked the internet to see what they say about using gel food coloring instead of liquid food coloring, and it says, in general, gel food coloring can be used interchangeably with liquid coloring. You will simply need to use much less, and that the gel colors can be very cost effective. So maybe this isn't a disaster like I thought it was a moment ago. Okay, so to start, we're going to measure 3/4 cups of peanut butter, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1.5 cups of the crushed graham crackers, 1/4 cup kosher salt, 3 tablespoons of the whole milk, and 3/4 cups of the mini chocolate chips. So those are all the measurements for that. And again, the recipe will be linked down below, but I'll also try to put it up here on the screen for you so you can follow along. And once those are all measured in our large mixing bowl, we're going to beat the peanut butter, brown sugar, and vanilla until they are light and fluffy. Then we're going to mix in our graham crackers, salt, and milk, and then fold in the chocolate chips. So let's get through that step. For some reason, my dough doesn't quite look like theirs. It looks a bit more crumbly. I don't know why, but I did try to add in a little bit, just a tiny bit extra of milk and peanut butter to try to make it stick more. Didn't really seem to help, so I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm hoping that it will come together okay when I go to shape it, because the next step is to scoop a heaping, as they put it, tablespoon of the dough and mold it into the shape of an egg on the pan. We'll see how good I am at making egg shapes. I have a feeling it's not going to look that great, but I'll give it my best effort. Okay, so here are the eggs. It makes 16 and I got 16. I had a little left over. Some of it was a bit crumbly and hard to stick together. I found working it with my hands made it a lot easier, and eventually just ditched the tablespoon and kind of guessed on size and used my hands because that did make it much easier. Don't know why it was crumbly, but it was. Could be because I used pre-broken up graham crackers, but theirs looked just as broken up as mine, so who knows. But now comes the waiting part, because we want to get these frozen. It says to freeze until they're solid, about 1 hour. So I will be back to check in with you in an hour. Okay, I'm back now, and now that those are frozen, we can go on to our next step, which is melting chocolate. So you want to use 2 cups of the white chocolate chips, which is basically 1 bag. And then you're going to divide it up into 3 microwave safe containers. And then we're going to microwave it on only half power for 30-second intervals. So that half power part I think is important, so we'll see how that goes. Then we're going to add a different food color to each one. So of course I'm going to choose pink, and I think purple, then green. And then once it's melted, we're going to dunk the frozen eggs into the chocolate with different colors for each, then drizzle excess chocolate and add our sprinkles on top. Then it says to let it set for 10 minutes, then you can eat it or refrigerate it. I'm sorry to say that this recipe is not one I can recommend for my fellow beginners out there, because for starters, here's a picture of what it's supposed to look like, and here is what mine turned out like. And I think there were a number of problems, which I will tell you about in hopes that if you do want to make this, you can avoid the issues that I ran into. The first thing is that I think my dough came out too crumbly. I'm not sure why, but I think that's problem number one. Number two, I burned one of my 3 bowls of chocolate. So you definitely have to stick to that 30-second, 50% power increments, because I kept it at 50% power, but I was getting impatient. So I cranked it up to like 40 seconds and wasn't completely watching it. And then when I went to stir it, the bottom was all burned, which I didn't really know could happen with melting chocolate that way, but it did. So you really have to keep an eye on it, kind of stir each time to make sure it's cooking it all evenly or melting it all evenly. So therefore I only had 2 colors of chocolate because one got burned. The third thing is, I think I would try, if I ever was to make these again, using baking chocolate instead of chocolate chips, because the chocolate chips just weren't working that great as far as, then again, they might have worked fine if my dough was correct, but when I went to put the dough into the chocolate, instead of the chocolate kind of clinging all to the dough was just breaking apart and falling into the chocolate and making a mess. So they did not turn out to be pretty nice eggs like they were supposed to. I tried to salvage them as best I could with what I had, but they are nothing like they are supposed to be. And I think it was a number of issues contributing to that, mainly probably the dough. But again, I don't know what went wrong there unless I mixed it too much. So these are things I don't know how I would figure out, but they certainly did not turn out well. While they'll probably taste fine, they look not so great. Not good presentation. This might be one for you more experienced bakers out there, but if you do make this recipe and you have success, please let me know in the comments and let me know if you did anything differently to make it work for you. I would love to hear about that. I tried to follow a little video tutorial that they had online, but it was very quick, like time lapse, and even following that didn't quite work out right. So that's a bit of a bummer, but that happens with baking, and at least I don't have to take them anywhere, or wasn't planning to make them for a specific event or occasion. So that's a good thing, but maybe try a different recipe for your spring or Easter get-togethers. But I am going to see how they taste at least. See, even picking it up, it's crumbling and falling apart in my hand. I don't get it. I don't know why it's so crumbly, but it's still falling apart. I personally, if I had the choice, I think I would make these with regular chocolate. While it would be pretty rich, I'm not a big white chocolate fan, and it's kind of deterring the taste for me. So I do think that I would maybe try just regular chocolate the next time. But they are quite rich and heavy, so don't think you could eat a whole lot of them. But I hope that you enjoyed this Baking for Beginners video, even though it was a fail. I don't know if it's my first ever fail, but I think it's probably my biggest. And I hope you at least learned something from it. And this is just kind of goes along with baking, that it's not always going to come out right and it's not always going to be perfect, but we have to keep practicing, keep trying, because that's the only way we're going to get better. But please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy baking videos and would like to see more of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you're up to. Let me know down in the comments what you're looking forward to most about spring when it arrives. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye!